The Alpha Sessions with Alan Joyce.
So this is the Alpha Sessions, and with me in the studio, I'm very pleased to have Natalie Gray. Welcome down.
Hello. Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming down to the studio. And actually, this is one of the easiest interviews I've ever had to research, because when you're looking through and sort of trying to find out more about guests that are coming in, sometimes you kind of think, oh, I don't know what to ask them. But with you, I could probably do this in about 4 parts, because there's so much to ask you. So we'll see how much we can get through over the next half an hour or so.
We'll speed run it. We'll
speed run it, exactly. Yeah. We'll do it. So firstly, on your socials, it says if Matt Healy from the 1975 had a baby with Madonna, that would be Natalie Gray.
That would be, yes.
Explain. Are you obsessed with these two?
I am, but someone said this to me. It was in a review, and I think they meant it as like not really a compliment, because the whole review wasn't great. But they said that, and I was like, I love that. I'll take it. And so now I just run with it. But yes, I am obsessed both equally with the 1975 as I am with Madonna. So I was like, well, I've won the lottery. Yeah. That's absolutely fine.
That's the ultimate compliment, then,
Hell
isn't it?
yeah.
How can you go wrong with that?
Do you know what I mean? So I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, that is now plastered all over my socials.
Well, why not? And I take it, therefore, that, I mean, the 80s in general are a big influence on you, clearly, and you only have to listen to some of your songs, which we'll listen to soon, to hear that. So what were your musical influences growing up then?
Well, I mentioned this to you before when I walked in. I'm obsessed with the 80s, but I grew up in a household that was obsessed with the 80s. Like, my mum is a huge kind of like hairbrush diva fan, so like Whitney Houston, Madonna. That was always played in our house at like barbecues and stuff. Queen, Prince, Michael Jackson, and then my dad is kind of like more the rock side of the 80s, so like the Eagles, Bon Jovi, that sort of stuff. So I grew up on that, and then as I got a bit older, I kind of discovered the Spice Girls. But until then, I was just obsessed, especially with like Madonna's Immaculate album. Was, as a kid, I knew every word, had no idea what it meant, probably shouldn't have known those words, but I was living for it. So yeah, I've just been obsessed with it ever since, and I'm obsessed with the whole kind of side of the 80s, like the big hair, the bright clothes, the just having a best time and not really caring what anyone thinks of you.
So were you, when you were sort of listening to the likes of the Spice Girls, were you sort of wanting to be a Spice Girl, or were you wanting to be like a Carol Decker?
Well, that's a really... I'd have loved to have been a Spice Girl.
Yeah. Obsessed
with the Spice Girls. I think it's girl power, isn't it? And it was that whole... I loved the fact they each had their individual like personalities, and they were all totally different, and they all represented someone you knew. Like in the playground, it was always like, oh, you're definitely Baby Spice, or you're a Scary Spice.
And which one were you?
I was always Ginger.
Okay, of course.
Even though, it's not my real colour.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I loved Jerry. I loved how just in your face she was. She was unapologetically her. Yeah. And I loved that. And that's what I love about the 80s. I loved artists such as Madonna and David Bowie and Prince, who just pushed boundaries and didn't care. And they were just like, this is who I am, and what? And I've always been on the side of weird, I think my family would say. I've never been like subtle. So being surrounded by like such empowering people musically, I was just like, well, yeah, there's no other option for me here apart from this. So yeah.
And was that a thing then? So did you decide from a very early age that music was going to be your thing?
Oh yeah. My mum would probably say I sang before I spoke. I was one of them annoying kids. I was always into music. I learnt piano at a really young age. But, I mean, my parents are totally to blame, completely to blame. They're very supportive of the arts. And I think the second I showed any interest in performing, they were like, absolutely. And my sister is also a performer. Bless my parents, they'll never retire because of this. But they were always very pushy, not pushy, that's the wrong word. They were always very like, live your dreams, whatever makes you happy. Life's far too short to be miserable. And that just happened that was music. So they're definitely to blame for it. I could be earning like thousands as a lawyer, but they were like, no, sing and dance. And I was like, yeah.
No, it's wonderful to do something that you love, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how did the kind of, when did it change from you sort of wanting to be on stage and be a performer to then starting to think about writing your own stuff and doing your own music?
Well, I was actually, as a kid, I was quite shy, and I was quite badly bullied at school. And I kind of just used to fuel me. I used to like kind of sit at home writing poems and songs and be like, one day I'm going to be famous and they'll be at my concerts. And then I eventually, something kind of clicked in my brain when I was like late teens, and I was just like, do you know what? I really don't care what people think of me, because you can't please everyone, and you're never anyone's cup of tea, so you might as well be your cup of tea. Like, so I kind of, when I was 18, I got into a performing arts college and I went to Italia Conti. I did the musical theatre thing, which is amazing, and I'm still very much involved and I love it. And then I started kind of just showing a few of my lyrics and song ideas to a few friends, and then was like, oh, actually, I'm all right at this. I can do this. And I started doing open mic nights, uploading stuff onto YouTube in the days when that was new. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into being like an artist rather than musical theatre kind of stuff.
And you you released your first single, I think, way back in 2015, didn't
I did.
you? Yeah.
God, that feels a long time ago now, doesn't it?
I was going to say, so much has changed in many things of the world, to be honest, hasn't it? But obviously the whole release process has massively changed.
Totally different.
So I mean, give us an insight to how the industry has changed and how the release process has changed from when you started to now.
Well, my first song I released independently. So I did everything myself. I found a distributor and just like uploaded it onto this random website, paid like 20 quid, and it all of a sudden got sent to Spotify and iTunes and all those sort of stuff. And I was actually on a musical at the time with David Hasselhoff, and
we're coming back to that. That's for sure. But yeah,
so my promo for the song was just bless David, like he recorded a video of him singing my song and that was all I did really, and it was great. I got some great feedback, but now it's like my next single was actually signed to a label, so they've kind of taken over all the distributing stuff. But then I'm on TikTok 24 hours a day and posting all sort of stuff and doing as many concerts as possible to get people to hear it. Because although the world's kind of got a bit bigger, as in like it feels like I can contact anyone across the world, whereas used to be it was just your circle of friends. So for me, that's kind of the really big change with my music, is I have a bit of a fan base on the other side of the world rather than here. Whereas when I first released Little Secrets, it was very much like my family and friends knew it, and anyone who I could get and drag along to an open mic night knew the song. But now it's kind of like I look on my Spotify and it'll be like, oh, are you being played in Indonesia or Jakarta? And I'm like, what? That's mental.
And the social media thing has obviously just got massive, even since 2015. I mean, you had the likes of Twitter and Facebook now, but that's such a massive part of the release process now, probably even compared to when you started, isn't it?
Absolutely. When I first started releasing music, like I barely posted on social media. I wasn't really a social media kind of person. And now people will probably say that I'm on it far too much. I watch far too many dog videos on TikTok. But yeah, nowadays it's very Instagram and TikTok heavy. Like you constantly have to be posting. You're told to post at least 3 times a day and do this, do that, and be fun and be cool. And I'm like, oh god, okay, I'll try. I'm not the coolest person in the room, but I will try.
I mean, you do it exceptionally well, by the way. and we've had so many discussions down here from people who sort of have a love-hate relationship with social media, which we'll obviously come on to. But I mean, would you say the industry's got sort of harder or easier because of social media?
Oh, that's such an interesting question. I actually had this discussion with a friend of mine a few weeks ago, because it felt like in lockdown, TikTok kind of exploded because we had nothing else to do. And incredible artists emerged, such as Sam Ryder, which was amazing. However, at my point of life in that moment, I was not prepared to be on any form of social media. I just wanted to cry in my pants and play my Nintendo Switch for the whole time, really. But so it feels like sometimes it's easier because you can get your music out to as many people as possible. But it also feels harder because it's so saturated. Yeah. So there is this whole thing with TikTok is you're constantly scrolling, and every 10 seconds there's a new artist, there's a new song, there's a new person there, and it's like, how will I compete with them? And that's something I've really noticed personally, is the comparison levels are constantly going. You're constantly going, well, they're doing this and they're doing that, and you don't see what's going on behind the scenes. And people do it to me. They'll be like, oh, you're doing this, you're amazing, that's great. And I'm like, oh, am I? Because I'm still poor and I'm still doing this and I don't know what else to do. And that's one thing with social media I don't like, is the negative comparison between each other. And
I guess the thing is, back in the day, the comparisons were generally all about the music, whereas now the comparisons are all about people's TikTok posts and stuff, aren't they?
Absolutely, and what you look like on that day, or who your friends are, what's happening, and it's a whole other world. Yeah,
it's hard.
It is.
But you are one of the things I love that you are doing to keep it sort of a bit retro is the amazing artwork that you're doing with your singles on Spotify. Like it's not obviously the same when you go into the likes of Woolworths and see them all on 7 inches.
That'd have been great.
I mean, it would have been lovely.
That would have been lovely.
But it hasn't been wasted on me. I've seen that you've gone to a lot of work with all these singles. So how did that all come about?
I really love like anime and that kind of art. I've always been I'm a massive geek, like massive nerd. I love Star Wars, I love Harry Potter, I love Marvel. I'm a massive book geek, love it all. So when I first released music and I was like, 80s synth pop, like I want to keep it on brand. I don't really want it to be photos of me. And then I came across this incredible artist called Mitsukat on Instagram, and it was all like really cool Japanese anime, and I was like, I would like to have this as me, please. And it's just kind of gone from there. And like one of my songs, Dance Floor, the artwork is also my dog's as anime, which was just really cute. Like I was just really chuffed with that. I actually had them printed as badges, and I sell them at gigs now because I just really like my dog as a little anime badge. So yeah, it just because I love it so much, and I love the colourful aspect of it too.
I love it. I love it. You also worked on a track with Billy the Kid and Joel Corey, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which was actually a cover version itself of a 90s track, which I love.
Yes.
But you've done an amazing version of it. You Get What You Give.
Yes.
How did that all come about?
I met Billy through friends, like a networking event. Like I'm constantly going to networking events and constantly open mic nights, and someone was like, you need to work with this guy. He's got similar sense of humour as you. And we literally got in a studio together and have been friends ever since. He's such a cool dude. And he sent me this song and he said, I'd love you to re-sing it. And at the time, I was having a really bad time. I wasn't sure if music was what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure if I was good enough. I was having a bit of a mental kind of like spiral down. And he sent me this song, and obviously the lyrics of Get What You Give just kind of really hit home. And I was out with friends and I just voice noted him, me singing the song. And he was like, cool, done, right, lay it down next week, let's do this. And it just went like straight away. And it got signed to New State Music, which was amazing. It was my first deal. And then Joel Corey did the remix of it, which was so cool. So yeah, it came out of a friend just being like, you're quite retro and this song feels like it resonates with you. And I was like, these lyrics of this song is just like, as an artist, whenever you're feeling sad or struggling, songs like that just make me go, oh yeah, we all feel this way. We got this. We can do this.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the original, but I have to say when I heard that version, I'm a fan of that version as well. I love it. I love it. So yeah, do check that one out on there. All the good streaming sites. Now you played 3 tracks for us in the studio as well. So let's talk about the first one now. You did a track called Live in Love, which you released back in 2017, didn't you? So
I did. I'm actually re-releasing it this year, and there's going to be a bit of a dance remix of it. I am going to be releasing it hopefully in association with Stonewall, raising money for the LGBTQ plus community. If anyone checks out my social media, I am a very strong and loud ally of the LGBTQ plus community. And I kind of just want to do whatever I can to make people feel safe and that they are included in this world, because I still really struggle with that idea that there are places in this world where love can be seen as a bad thing, and that like gender types and all this sort of stuff is illegal, which baffles me. So yeah, I'm re-releasing it in the summer because the song is all about not caring what people think. It's all about embracing who you are, embracing your weirdness, as I like to say, and just living your best life, because you only get to do it once. So we might as well throw some glitter on it and have fun.
Woke up this morning with the sun and the stars still out. Shake the glitter from your clothes, this is heaven. Now I know what I've been missing so long. Isn't it so easy just to play it safe? Same old bull every single day. Now
Alpha Sessions with Alan Joyce.
This is the Alpha Sessions then, and I'm here with Natalie Gray. Now, one of the themes that actually I've found through all of your music and all of your stories is that it's turning sort of negative stuff that's happened to you into something really positive. And you've done that in a really powerful and incredible way with all the different stuff you've done. And you talk a lot about mental health through your social media, and you mentioned before that you talk about it through schools as well. So talk us through some of that work that you do.
Yeah, so I go into schools and I'll perform a few of my songs, tell them the background of the songs, and then kind of talk to kids about why speaking about mental health is so important. I think on TikTok and stuff, we see kind of the glamorous side of mental health issues, and it has become a little bit glamorized. And actually, it's really not glamorous at all. And unfortunately, a lot of people kind of internalize when they're having problems. I know I did. And it nearly destroyed me. And actually talking out and getting the support and realizing that more people suffer than we know, and actually finding like a group of people who you can just check in with and who have got your back. And even if it feels pathetic in your brain or like you're a burden, just having someone you can go, I feel rough, like, can I just chat? And I just think that's a thing we need to be talking to kids about, because it starts as a kid. I mean, I remember when I was at school, mental health wasn't really something we spoke about. Whereas nowadays there is as mental health advisors in schools, which is incredible. But if we were down or stressed, we just felt it was just being a teenager. Whereas actually, unfortunately, there's a lot more issues. And I was diagnosed with PTSD, and it's something I've really struggled with to kind of deal with, come to terms with. And now I speak quite openly about it because I feel like we shouldn't have it as a taboo. It's not a taboo. It's something that happened to me. It doesn't define who I am. And I use music as kind of a healing process and something. I've written a few songs about things, and I've actually got my first song coming out that is about my PTSD. On the 4th of May, Star Wars Day. Told you, I'm a nerd. And I use music to kind of let go of anything that's upsetting me and have that as my release, really.
And it's brilliant that it is a release for you, because there must be an element of it where you're sort of, to a certain extent, it kind of, you relive it and it brings it all up again for you. How do you find that?
That's a really hard question. It's something that, like, when I speak too much about it, I can find myself spiraling down. And that's kind of why, like, on my socials, I do try and see the light in it. And I'll be like, if you suffer with PTSD, if you have any of these problems, here are some ideas that help me that might help you. For instance, going for a walk or listening to a podcast or tuning in to this radio station. But that's how I like to deal with it. I like to embrace it and kind of go, do you know what, actually, I'm having a rough day. But instead of, like, wallowing in it and admitting defeat to myself, I'll be like, right, what can I do to help others and myself? And I think that's kind of the best way to crack on with it, because it is hard and you can let it consume you. And I think if you don't talk about it, it will consume you, but it shouldn't define who you are.
Yeah, quite right. And I think, as we were talking about before we came on air, we were talking about how social media's sort of amplified it all, doesn't it? And especially, we've talked about TikTok and Instagram, and we've had this discussion down here many, many times, that obviously you're seeing the good side of everyone else's life, and there's that pressure to kind of like, oh, well, they're doing so well and they're having a great fun doing this, that I've got to match that.
I mean, we've all done it. Like, I did it in lockdown. I was putting up pictures being like, oh, I'm so excited to be back in the studio soon, or oh my God. And actually the reality was I was sat at home, like, putting weight on and just baking sourdough and crying. But I'm not going to post that online. And like I said, like, a lot of people will say to me, like, oh, it looks like you're doing this and that's amazing. I'm like, is it? Like, but you're doing this and that's great. And there is this whole comparison on social media, and you only see people's highlight reels. You don't see what goes on behind closed doors. And it's the same with, like, couples. You'll see couples posting about how loved up they are and how happy they are. And that might not be the case. It might be, but it also might not be as perfect as we see. And I think as long as we have that in mind, that we go, actually, this setup and this shot probably took half an hour or 20 takes to get the right shot or the right filter or whatever. Because that's the thing that terrifies me, the filters on TikTok that can make you look like... There's one now that brings your waist in and makes you look all skinny, and like, I'm just like, this isn't healthy.
No, why would you need that? That's not good.
trying to avoid all of those things because it's not good for anyone's mental health, really.
No. And you're just bombarded. I mean, even going back to the music side, like just releasing one single, how many hours do you spend on social media coming up with ideas and trying to make everything sound rosy?
And you literally like, you record the song, you write the song, you release, you're happy with it, you put it out to distributor. That should be the hard part. But actually, the hard part is the 4 weeks before the song comes out, when you're posting 3 times a day on TikTok and you're jumping on all the right trends, saying all the right things, trying to get TikTok to be on your side. And it's a full-time job. And at the same time, I want to be creating more music. Because that's what I love. I love creating music. I love performing with my band. I like being a bit of a nerd on TikTok and being a bit silly, but I hate that whole, hey guys, new single coming out. Hey, find this. And it's so draining. And you just want to be like, oh, can we just like level this out, chill a bit, and like all just support each other, because that would be great.
And the other thing about that as well is that how much control you have over the numbers, as we were talking before. Like you could record something that's taken you an entire day and it might get minimal hits. Yeah. And then another one that you spend 2 minutes on and gets hundreds of thousands.
Well, I mentioned to you earlier, and I'll tell your listeners about, like, I've had one video go viral. And it was me losing my mind at a 1975 concert because Denise Welch was sat behind me. And it's literally like 4 seconds long. It's me just shaking all over the place, screaming. And it's had nearly 2 million views. Whereas I'll do a video of me that I've like put a full face of makeup on, I've edited, I sound great, I look great, done all the right captions, and it'll be like 2 views. And that's my mum. Yeah. And you're just like, oh, okay, great, fine. So you have no idea. You have no idea.
And do you also find, because again, this is what a number of other artists have said, that obviously with social media, it's great that you can have that direct interaction with fans, but it also gives people the opportunity to give their feedback and be very blunt about what they think in a good and not so good way.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that?
I was really badly trolled last year. Quite badly. I'm to the point of like, I've got a bit of a thick skin. Like I went to Italia Conti. I've done the whole drama school thing. Like I've got a thick skin. But when people get personal on social media, which unfortunately, to take the term keyboard warriors, but they feel like they can and they feel like they have permission and whatever to do so, it can be really upsetting. And my mum actually got really upset by it because she was obviously seeing these things people saying about her daughter, and she wanted to interact and be like, go away, stop, like how dare you. And I was like, you can't, because the problem is people don't think you'll see it, or people don't think you'll care, or sometimes people just do it to get a reaction. And I did for a little bit get really upset and get in my head about it, and I came off of socials for a bit, and then I remembered that why I'm doing it. Why do I post? Because I'm proud of that moment. As long as you can say to yourself, why am I posting this? Oh, because actually I'm really proud of that day, or I really like that photo, or that's just a great video, then great. If you're looking for validation, you're probably going to get disappointed and you could get hurt. I'm not sticking up for trolls. It should not be a thing. But unfortunately, there isn't the security yet to stop it. And for a bit, I kind of interacted, and I'd make funny little TikTok videos replying to stuff. And then I would laugh about it. And then I'd go to bed and go, oh my God, but what if they're right? What if I do look stupid? What if I am fat? What if my music is awful? And I was like, oh, well, this isn't helping anyone, is it? So my kind of thing I always say to people is, if you're on socials and you start to get trolled, just delete those comments immediately. Don't interact with them. Don't let it affect you, because also they wouldn't say it to your face. Like no one ever comes up to you and is like, oh, your hair looks silly. Like that just doesn't happen. Yeah. So we just have to pretend it's not real. Yeah, exactly. And is this the sort of thing that you cover in the schools then when you go into Yes, because we all know what it's like to be at school. Like I was really badly bullied, but luckily, like, I'd then go home and live my other life with my actual friends outside school, or I'd be playing music or whatnot, or going to like amateur dramatics. And I would find my kind of solitude in that. Whereas now it doesn't stop, because kids then go onto Instagram and TikTok and troll their school friends, and there's no safeguarding anymore. There's no place that kids can just be themselves. And that is something I would really love, like, people to take away from when I do go into schools, is how uncool it is to troll someone. It's not funny, and it really isn't clever to be nasty to someone, even if you think it's banter, because you don't know what's going on in someone's brain. You don't know how they're feeling that day, and actually you could say the one thing that really like tips them over the edge of something. And I hate that can happen. Something I did try to do for a bit, and actually I still do try and do it as much as I can, is if I ever get trolled, I'll delete that comment, and for every troll I get, I'll then go and find a random video of someone I don't know, like it, and put something nice on theirs. So it's kind of like a paying it forward, but turning a troll into like something positive. Because if we've got the power to talk to people, we might as well be nice.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. See, that's why I say you're always turning it into a positive.
Trying to.
I love it. And that actually brings me very neatly on to a couple of other things that you've done. So you've done some amazing work with your good friend Farah to raise money for Women's Aid through touring and special gigs and stuff. So tell us more about that.
So Take Back the Beat. It started as a podcast between me and my friend Farah. And it basically, we're just kind of sick of the taboo around domestic abuse and women's safety. And I was actually told once by a company that they wouldn't be involved with it because they didn't like to make a political stance. And I don't really understand how human safety is political, but that's a whole other opinion. So we started this podcast just talking to advocates, talking to charities, talking to survivors, and it then led on to a music tour last year, which was amazing. And we had people like Billy Lockett headline, we had Push Baby, it was amazing. And it was also great for us because I got to perform with my whole band, and I released a song at the same time about my experience. And then we're actually doing it again. We just got one date in May, the 23rd of May. It's my birthday month, so if people want to come down, think of it as a birthday present to me. I think there's just a lot of things that happened over the last few years, especially in regards to women's safety, that I think people are just a bit sick of. People are a little bit, I want to go for a run and feel safe. I want to be able to walk home from the station. I want to be able to wear a small skirt and not feel like I am a walking target. And so we're trying to create kind of a safety community and help change the taboo.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It shouldn't be too much to ask, should it? Honestly.
No, it really shouldn't. You'd think so. But yes,
yeah.
slowly but surely, we're getting there.
That's amazing work that you're doing for Women's Aid. I feel like you must be an organiser because you always seem to be involved in supporting lots of charities and good causes. I mean, would you say you're an organiser anyway?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I am a massive control freak.
Are you?
Like 100%. I get that from my mum.
Oh, really?
I am. Even little things like someone will be like, oh, don't worry, we'll do this. And I'm like, no, it's fine. I'll find a day to do that. I'll find 5 minutes to do that. I am the biggest control freak. So, yeah.
I mean, they say if you want something done, ask a busy person.
Exactly.
Right?
Do it yourself.
So, moving on to the next thing that you organise.
Yes.
So, you help organise a songwriters' night.
Yes.
Called Pin Drop UK. Yeah. So, tell us more about this one.
So, Pin Drop is an incredible company out in Nashville. And they do these incredible songwriting nights and showcases, and it's amazing. And then one of my friends, is actually my partner's friend, but I've kind of just hijacked him to be my friend, said to me, there's this night, it's amazing. It's all about like supporting each other in music. We should have something like that in the UK. And I was like, ding, 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 yes, we should. We had a bit of a Zoom with the guys over in Nashville, and we're like, how would you feel about us bringing this to the UK? And we were like, we don't really know how it's going to go down because it's a free event, it's fun, it's just artists getting up, telling you a bit about their songs and doing like an acoustic version of them. And we were like, let's see. And we put the first night on in November of last year, and the Nashville guys all came over, and it was amazing. And then we've just finished one, which is our second one in the UK at the Bedford, and it was phenomenal. We basically sold out nearly all the tickets. Wow. It was such a good night, and we had some incredible artists come down, and also people who are just supporters of new music and want to come and support each other. And what was really great was everyone was just, we performed, and afterwards people were networking and people being like, oh, I'd love to work with you, or I'd love to do this. And it was just a night of kind of empowerment and love. And everyone's like, oh, I love this about this song, or I love that. And I was like, there's enough room in this world for everyone, and sometimes we forget that. Yeah. And I think that's a lot of 90s rom-coms we have to blame for that. But it's just really nice, especially seeing like other women bigging up other women, because something as a kid in the 90s we did learn that it was kind of against everyone. It's dog eat dog and all of that. It's really not. There is enough room for everyone, and successful people have successful friends. So me and Ollie have started Pin Drop, and it's going really well. We've got another date in August 17th. We'll be back at the Bedford. And yeah.
What an amazing venue, by the way.
Oh,
Isn't
my
the
God.
Bedford brilliant?
It is
Yeah.
stunning. We did our sound check, and I literally was just like, I'm never leaving. I live here now. That's
You
it.
picked an amazing venue to do that.
Gorgeous.
So
And they're great guys. Like, massive shout out to Tony over at the Bedford. He's just an absolute legend. So
definitely.
it's great.
So if people want to find out more about that, where can they go, and when can they find out the lineup? Is that going to be announced soon?
So the lineup will be announced quite soon.
Okay.
Very soon.
I'm not going to tease anything out.
I'm like, oh, it's coming soon.
Okay.
We've got a few people confirmed, which is going to be a surprise little. I hate to be that person that's like, tune in later.
Yeah.
But yes, it's something very exciting. But yeah, if you want to find out more about it, we're on Instagram at PinDropUK. Obviously, or just go to my Instagram because I promote it constantly. I'm obsessed. And yeah, come down, come say hi. It's a free event, so just we put the tickets on Eventbrite, and you can just like reserve a ticket so that you've got a seat.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's well worth going to
Yes.
Bedford, and that sounds amazing. So hopefully we'll get to go as well.
Thank you.
Right, let's have a listen then. So we've touched on it already. The new single, The Me I Pretend to Be, which is out on Star Wars Day,
Star Wars
as you
Day.
say. So we've touched on it already, but introduce it and tell us more about it.
So this is The Me I Pretend to Be. It is my next single. It's out on the 4th of May, Star Wars Day, but it has nothing to do with Star Wars. It's a synthwave track all about dealing with mental health.
To be heard and living to be seen, but that's a girl I don't know. A girl I've lost and killed her dream. I can't remember her smile. Please tell me when we changed things. Praying to a God I don't believe in. Just listen. I'm standing at the edge of the world, waiting to see if I fall. I'm looking to find the figure behind it. Here at the edge of the world, hoping you'll believe in the me I pretend to be. The me I pretend to be, the me I pretend to be. I'm standing at the edge of the world, hoping you'll believe in the me I pretend to be. Maybe we could stop. Let me just turn back time. Why do we feel lost when I'm told the world could be mine? I'm standing at the edge of the world, waiting to see if I fall. I'm looking to find the thing behind it. Here at the edge of the world, hoping you'll believe in the me I pretend to be. The me I pretend to be, the me I pretend to be. I'm standing at the edge of the world, hoping you'll believe I'm fine. You know that I lie. There's no room, there's no time, but I need you to keep holding on, 'cause I'm standing at the edge of the world, waiting to see you fall. Here at the edge of the world, hoping you'll believe in the me I pretend to be, the me I pretend to be, the me I pretend to be. Oh, in the me I pretend to be.
The Alpha Sessions with Alan Joyce.
Yeah, it's a really powerful new track, and
Thank
thank
you.
you for performing it to us in the studio, because I know you actually haven't performed it many
No,
times, have you?
that was an exclusive.
Yeah.
I literally performed it for the first time ever at Pin Drop. And it was, again, like done so different. My friend Ollie, who I run the night with, did it on piano for me. And like he did jazz versions of all my songs, which was nuts because I've never done that before. But we're like, why not? Go for it. And then we did The Me I Pretend to Be, and I was so nervous. Like, the video's back, I'm just an absolute wreck. So then I was like, right, do you know what? I need to get this song in my body. And so when I was coming on here, I was like, I've got to perform it. It's my next single. But because a lot of my music is upbeat and it's fun and it's let's forget our problems and like live our best lives. So when I actually write something that's like, oh, this is my soul on a plate and all my insecurities and issues, it's a bit terrifying.
Yeah, especially in that sort of, because you're used to the kind of very poppy upbeat backing, and then it's sort of stripped back bare, and it's I guess there's a vulnerability there, isn't there?
Yeah, I wrote it with one of my best friends in the world, Jack Craig, who is my long-term producer and co-writer and like free therapist, basically. And I'd had a bit of a spiral down last year. Everything just kind of got on top of me. We'd done this amazing tour. I'd had some amazing things happen in my life, and I just felt not good enough. And I felt like I was putting on this facade of this person who wasn't me, and I was exhausted. And I realised, because I hadn't even realised I was doing it. I hadn't realised I was pretending to be someone else. And I was like, why am I constantly tired? Why can't I sleep? Why am I not eating? Why am I having panic attacks all the time? Obviously, I know I suffer with PTSD, but I've managed to find how to handle that. And I kind of had a little bit of a break. My partner at the time, well, he's still my partner, but at the time, he was on the Les Mis UK tour. So I went for a weekend to see him on tour and just had a bit of a breakdown to him and was like, I am so tired of pretending I'm okay and being too scared to say anything because I'm too scared of being a burden, or people will be like, oh no, we only like the fun Nat, the positive Nat. And he was just like, you're an idiot, like we love you for who you are. And so I just sat down and I wrote some kind of really truthful lyrics about how I was feeling in that moment, took them to Jack, and that's where The Me I Pretend to Be came, which it was literally written about this time last year, and it's taken me this long to go, okay, I'm ready to put it out there and see what happens.
I mean, it's a really powerful track.
Thank you.
And it's going to be interesting, I guess, to see what reaction, again, with the social media thing, like what reaction it's going to get. Hopefully it's going to be a very powerful one in a good way for you. But equally, I suppose there's that element of, will people want to now start pouring out to you? Like, oh, this has really helped me with so-and-so and so-and-so.
Yeah, which I would be very open with. Like, when I did it the other night at Pin Drop, a lot of people come up to me and they were like, wow, I didn't realise that's how you felt, and actually I felt like this. And it was quite nice to have that moment of going, oh, we're all faking it. Like, we're all pretending we're okay and we're too scared to say anything. So it was quite nice. And I think it's a particular song that I'm quite passionate about with my family, because my family are my rock. They are, without them, honestly, don't know where I'd be or how I'd have coped. Like, even just trying to get the diagnosis of my PTSD, my mum was just been my warrior. Like, she's amazing. So kind of playing them this song and being like, yeah, I'm struggling and I've lied. Like, I've lied to you that I'm fine. And actually, when you said you were worried, I can understand why. So it's really hard for me to be like, okay, these are my feelings. But I think it was Ed Sheeran years and years ago said, like, if you write a song about an issue that you've had, you have to be okay with the world owning it then. Because then this song isn't about me anymore. It's not about my issue. It could be about anyone's. And there's a certain level of power in that, and also like absolutely terrifying. But I do hope people listen to it and know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's okay to not be okay. And also to kind of go, I'm struggling, help me. We don't have to pretend. So
quite right.
Thank you.
So let's talk about some of the gigs that you've done as well, because I mean, you've gigged with some amazing people. I mean, just to reel off a few: Rag and Bone Man, Becky Hill, Fleur East. Like the list goes on and on, doesn't it? And you've done Pride and everything as well. So I mean, what's on the bucket list? Who would you love to have alongside you?
Well, obviously the 1975. I'm obviously going to say, like, I want to support the 1975. This is me asking the world for that. But I'd also love to support people like Pink. I'm a huge Pink fan. And people like Meghan Trainor. Like, she's also very unapologetically herself, and she's very funny. And I love that kind of vibe of a person. But my thing with Pink is she is a show woman. Like, she is a boss. She is like, you don't just go to listen to her sing, you go to watch her flying through the air. And I would absolutely love to work with Pink. I think I'd just die on the floor, to be perfectly honest with you. I just cry and die.
So, I mean, you've talked about the gigs that you've done that have been, I guess, a bit more intimate and stripped back. But what's your ultimate? Where would you love to perform? Are you thinking like stadium gigs?
Oh my God, absolutely. Yeah, give me Wembley. Give me like Madison Square Gardens, obviously. But actually, like one of my bucket list things, I'd love to perform at Reading Festival, because Reading is my hometown. I don't get to perform in Reading a lot, which is crazy. But I'd love to do Reading Festival. Just because as a kid it was always like, it's always what you asked for Christmas was tickets to go to Reading. It's where I first saw Paramore. It's where I first saw Slayer. I was in a mosh pit for Slayer in like bright pink wellies, the ultimate uncool kid, and I was living for it. But I'd love to play Reading Festival.
Did you do a lot of gigs in Reading before you moved to London?
No, literally I moved to London when I was 18, and I hadn't really discovered my voice then. I was, like I said, I was really badly bullied at school, and I was very much like, I want to be in musical theatre, but I want to be at the back. I want to be like ensemble number 20,005, right at the back, just really happy to be there. So when I finally discovered my voice at Conti's and kind of through open mic nights, it was past like going back to Reading. So I actually performed for the first time in Reading. I do like some busking stuff for Reading Council when I did the Christmas light switch on, obviously, which is really lovely. But I did the Oakford Social Club, which is where I used to go and have like a pound a pint and stuff. So
pound a pint, wow, there we go.
Back in the old days.
Remember,
So I performed there last year, and then actually I've just been booked to play Ready Pop, which is the Reading Pop Festival. And I literally got the email and was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I was just like, yeah, I've done some amazing gigs, but it's my hometown. So I'm buzzing for Ready Pop.
Oh, that's amazing. Going back full circle.
Absolutely.
Do you get nervous before gigs, would you say?
Yes. Yes. I ride the line of like excited, nervous. But I kind of feel like if the nerves stop, I don't care then. I used to get really bad stage fright, and this is a trick for anyone out there who's got stage fright. I have the sweetest tooth, right? Okay. So like earlier you asked me if I wanted a cake, and I was like, genuinely, if I have cake, you won't get me in an interview because I would just want more. I am terrible. Like anything that's chocolate or sweets, pick a mix, give me. And I used to be obsessed with wine gums. Like obsessed with wine gums. Couldn't get through the day without a pack. And I'm talking family bag. And what I decided to do, this was about 6 or 7 years ago, because I was so nervous, stage fright was so bad, I stopped allowing myself to have wine gums on a regular day. But if I had an audition, this included like musical theatre stuff, if I had an audition or a gig, I'd allow myself wine gums. So then when my agent would call and be like, hey, you're in for whatever show, instead of going, oh my God, I'm so nervous, I go, ooh, wine gums. Like genuinely.
There's the prize at the end of it.
It's ridiculous, but I still do that now. So last year, actually, I got sent some amazing vegan sweets from this company. And I was like, I'm not eating them until I do Penfest, because I was so nervous about Penfest. So I was like, right, that's my Penfest day. So literally the week before, everyone was like, you nervous? I was like, oh my God, I'm going to eat these sweets. I'm going to eat the whole tub. There's going to be none left. So that's my little trick. Again, it's to kind of take something that's seen as bad and make it a little bit happy on the edge. But I have an amazing band. They're all my mates. So it's kind of like I just get on stage and rock out with my friends and just have the best time.
I just have this vision when I'm going to watch you in years to come, headlining with Pink.
Yes.
You'll have a little bubble in your head saying, I'm just aiming for the wine gums.
Literally just wine gums. Just pass me the wine gums.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's and one thing I have to ask you about, we touched on it at the start, the Hoff.
The Hoff.
I mean, what is this about? So I've seen the video of you and the Hoff doing this promo.
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
Go on, tell us how that all came about.
Yeah, it was 2015, I think we said. And I got this musical playing a part called Amber. It was called Last Night a DJ Saved My Life. And it was so much fun. It was honestly like the best 9 months. It was just ridiculous. Like this musical, it was based in 90s Ibiza. And it was like... I can't describe it. It was like a different world. And being on tour with the Hoff was an experience I will treasure. He is a legend.
Really?
He is a lovely guy. He's so nice. Even so, like, when I said to him, I was like, oh, I'm releasing a song. He instantly was like, oh, kid, come to my dressing room. We'll do a little video and we'll do this and we'll do that. And I was like, you don't have to do that. And then I genuinely was in my dressing room getting ready for this show. And I just got this thing over the tannoy being like, can Natalie Gray come to stage? And I was like, oh God, what have I done? Like, oh, what have I done? Got to stage and like the Hoff was just there and he's like, right, we're going to do this video. And I was like, oh my God, okay, yay. And he shared it and he was so lovely. He's an honestly lovely human.
That is brilliant. And of course, he's a recording artist himself.
Is,
I mean, people forget that, he released a few singles. He was massive in some parts of the world, wasn't he?
Germany, literally Germany. We had so many people come over from Germany being like, oh my God. And you forget, like, how big he is.
Yeah.
Like, he is Baywatch. He is literally the definition of Baywatch.
I mean, Baywatch and Knight Rider, even if you're
Knight
a kind of
Rider, literally.
Yeah.
He's a ledge.
Yeah, total ledge. So a duet on with Hoff at some
I would love that. So he got us these T-shirts for, like, opening night that say, it's his literal face, and it just says, don't hassle the Hoff. And I've still got it. I still wear it all the time. He's an absolute legend. I love him.
I love it. So what lies next for you in 2023? What else have you got planned for the year?
Well, world domination at all costs. So I'm doing a big full band, my first headline London show in association with Women's Aid on the 23rd of May at Bardonia. Tickets are available. So that's like my next big thing. And then I'm doing Ready Pop. I'm doing Penfest again, which is amazing. Supporting Noel Gallagher. What?
That is mad.
So that's kind of on the cusp. I've got loads of new music coming out that I'm very excited about, and also a few cover songs coming out.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
which are going to be a bit unexpected, but
really?
I'm very excited about.
Oh, I'm really intrigued now.
So yeah, like my aim this year is to be happy, healthy, and if I can get a couple of quid from some music, that would be great.
Excellent. Well, please come back and tell us more about it. If anyone wants to find out more about you, where can they go?
Anywhere, I'm everywhere. At Nat Gray Music, Gray with an A, over all socials, TikTok, Instagram. Be warned, it's a lot of videos of my dog. And me dressed up as Star Wars characters, obviously. Or Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, all those things. Natalie Gray.
Perfect. Well, just before we go, we're going to play out with a track called Dance Floor.
Yeah!
Which you released last year, I think. So tell us more about this one.
So Dance Floor, again, it kind of just came out of nowhere. I'd played Pride in London and had the best time. And it was just full of love. And I wanted a song that I could capture that of just like, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters as long as you're having fun. So that's what Dance Floor is. And it's, again, written with Jack Craig. And I hope you guys like it.
Brilliant. Natalie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing, and
Yay.
let's have you back soon.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.